S-Class Ice Burst. The principal's excited scream shattered the silence of the awakening ceremony. The crowd erupted instantly. Everyone was losing their minds. It was Luo Qingxue, the school's top beauty, and she had just awakened an S-Class Ice ability. I stood in the back of the line, listening to the students whisper. They were all talking about the 3-day duel between me and her. 3 years ago, her family tried to force me to break our childhood betrothal. It was a total humiliation. I didn't just take it. I refused to cancel the engagement and set a 3-year deadline. That deadline was 3 days from now. People were laughing at me. They said an S-Class genius like her would crush me. They said if I managed to awaken even a B-Class ability, my ancestors must have been praying for me from their graves. Luo Qingxue walked off the stage, her expression cold and distant. She glanced at me for a split second, her eyes full of complicated emotions, before walking away. Principal Wang Donglai signaled for silence. The ceremony continued. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves. I was a transmigrator. 3 years ago, I died while staying up late reading novels back on Earth, and woke up in this world where beasts roamed and everyone awakened powers to survive. If I wanted to survive the duel, I needed something big. Su Chun, don't worry, my friend Han Xiaoli whispered, patting my shoulder. I believe you'll get something good. I smiled at my only real brother in this world. I hope so, I replied. I hope my fate is in my own hands. Suddenly, a mechanical voice echoed in my mind. A system notification. It was the slaughter system. It told me that by killing people or beasts, I could earn points to grow stronger. Then, the real prize dropped. A starter gift pack. I received an S-Class Dark-type Awakening, a Death Magic Lotus, and 1,000 slaughter points. I felt a surge of energy hit me. My fate wasn't just in my hands anymore. It was in the system's hands. People usually think dark elements are weak or creepy, but they're wrong. Dark-type users are mysterious, dangerous, and incredibly cool. With the S-Class qualification and the bonus chi, I was ready to fly. Next, Su Chun, the principal shouted. I walked toward the stage. My steps felt light. Behind me, Han Xiaoli shouted that he'd sacrifice 2 centimeters of his own manhood just to give me luck for an A-Class rating. I just shook my head and smiled. I reached the awakening stone. The principal looked at me kindly, telling me not to be nervous. My homeroom teacher looked on with worry. He knew that if I awakened a low-rank D-Class ability, Luo Qingxue would destroy me in 3 days. I ignored the pitying stares and placed my hand on the cold stone. The air shifted immediately. A dangerous, suffocating aura exploded from the stone. It didn't glow blue or red. It turned pitch black. The light in the sky seemed to be swallowed by an invisible giant hand. The entire playground fell into total darkness. Principal Wang's face turned bright red with excitement. This wasn't just an awakening. It was a phenomenon. S-Class, he gasped. It has to be S-Class. The students below were terrified. They scrambled back, feeling like death itself was staring them down. Even Luo Qingxue frowned, her cold composure finally breaking. Her butler whispered that it was just a dark element and wouldn't amount to much, but she didn't listen. She was staring at me, paralyzed. In the middle of the pitch-black stage, shadows began to knit together. They formed a massive, terrifying throne out of nothingness. I sat down on it, leaning back lazily. I crossed my right leg over my left and held the Death Magic Lotus in my hand. I tilted my chin up, looking down at the crowd with a bored, kingly gaze. I didn't look like a student. I looked like a monarch who had just returned from the abyss. The girls in the crowd started blushing, their legs going weak. The guys were speechless. Who said dark types weren't cool? The screen on the awakening machine finally flashed the result. Su Chun, S-Class ability, Shadow Monarch. Principal Wang lost his mind. He was so happy he actually picked up my homeroom teacher and hugged him. The world was about to find out that the shadows weren't just dark. They were absolute. Principal Wang was losing his mind. He grabbed my homeroom teacher and kissed him right on the lips, several times, unable to contain his joy. Even though the dark omen from earlier had prepared him, seeing the words S-Class confirmed on the screen sent him over the edge. 2 S-Class students in one day? This was legendary. This was a goldmine. Principal, the teacher stammered, his face turning bright red as he tried to push him away. I don't think you brushed your teeth this morning. Wang Donglai cleared his throat and set the teacher down, looking a bit embarrassed. He quickly turned to the crowd and shouted at the top of his lungs, Su Chun, S-Class Dark Element, the Shadow Monarch. The playground erupted. The students were in a frenzy. People were already whispering about the duel 3 days from now. 2 S-classes going head-to-head was a once-in-a-lifetime event. But not everyone was impressed. So what if it's S-Class? One student sneered, his voice dripping with jealousy. Dark elements are weak. They're way worse than ice, and even weaker than A-Class fire or lightning. Dark types are just for sneaking around and gathering intel. They can't handle a real fight. Exactly, another joined in. Look at the history books. All the top powerhouses are lightning or fire users. Plus, Su Chun is just an orphan. How can he compete with the resources of the Luo family? 3 days from now, he's just going to be a side character in Luo Qingshue's story. The bitterness in the air was thick. I had a marriage contract with the school goddess, and I had awakened an S-Class ability. To them, I had won the lottery, and they hated me for it. Principal Wang patted my shoulder, trying to comfort me. Don't listen to them, kid. An S-Class is an S-Class. It's not inferior to anything. I looked him in the eye. Principal, do you also believe my ability is weaker than fire or lightning? Do you think it's worse than an A-Class? He hesitated, stammering for a moment before sighing. Look, realistically, dark elements lack the raw destructive power of lightning or fire. But I believe in you. Come to my office later. I'll give you the S-Class prodigy resources. These were special supplies reserved only for the elite. I just smiled faintly. Don't worry, Principal. In 3 days, I'll show everyone how ridiculous it is to call the dark element weak. To me, the idea that shadows were inferior was a joke. In the stories I read in my past life, shadow users were terrifying. I remembered one specific phrase that gave me chills. Arise. If I was going to be the shadow monarch in this world, I was going to change everyone's mind. I wasn't going to be an assassin or a scout. I was going to be a violent, destructive mage of the abyss. Good lad, Wang Donglai said, his eyes full of encouragement. I'll be waiting to see you become famous. As I nodded, a blue translucent screen appeared before my eyes. Name, Su Chun. Ability, S-Class Shadow Monarch. Level, Awakened. Combat skills, none. Natal artifact, S-Class Death Magic Lotus. Cultivation method, Basic Energy Method. Kill points, 1000. I noticed a small plus sign next to my ability. System, I thought. Does this mean I can upgrade my rank? Yes, the system replied. The plus sign indicates an upgrade is possible. Can I reach SS class? I asked. In this world, S-Class was supposedly the ceiling, but legends spoke of something higher. Yes, it costs 100,000 kill points to upgrade your ability to SS class. It costs 50,000 points to upgrade your Death Magic Lotus to SS class. My excitement died down instantly. The good news was that I could become a god. The bad news was that I was broke. I needed to get out of the city and hunt monsters to farm points. I had 3 days to get strong enough to crush Luo Qingxue and reclaim the glory of the dark element. As I turned to leave the stage, Principal Wang grabbed my arm. Wait, Su Chun, have you felt your trait yet? I paused. What's a trait? It's a unique power found only in S-Class elements and above, he explained. For example, the god of thunder in our country has a lightning trait that multiplies his destructive power several times over. The strength of 2 S-Classes often comes down to whose trait is better. I looked at my hand, watching the dark energy flicker like black flames. What was my trait? Don't rush it, Wang Donglai said kindly. You'll figure it out in time. I thanked him and walked down the steps. The girls in the crowd were staring at me with hearts in their eyes. I didn't realize that my moment on the throne had made me the school's new heartthrob. Han Xiaoli ran up to me, grinning ear to ear. Brother Chun, you looked so cool on that throne. My 2 centimeters didn't go to waste, did they? I slapped his shoulder hard. You're a true brother, Xiaoli. He giggled and batted his eyelashes. Actually, I could be your girlfriend too. I'll just go abroad and get the surgery. Anything for you, Brother Chun. I winced. Sure, just make sure you look like a supermodel. I don't want my brother to suffer. We were laughing when a man blocked our path. It was Luo Hai, the Luo family butler. He looked down his nose at me with a look of pure pity. Su-chun, you've done well, Luo Hai said arrogantly. We've decided to cancel the duel. If you agree to marry into the Luo family and change your last name to Luo, we will provide you with all the resources you need. He acted like he was doing me a massive favor. I lowered my head and let out a soft laugh. Really? Come a little closer and tell me more. Luo Hai snorted and stepped forward. You've always been obsessed with my young mistress. This is your chance to be her servant husband. Don't be ungrateful. My eyes went cold. Without a word, I swung my fist with everything I had, the wind whistling as it connected squarely with his face. A loud crack echoed across the playground before he could even react. The force of my punch sent Luo Hai stumbling back, his boots dragging against the pavement. A sharp, blood-curdling scream ripped through the air. I watched with grim satisfaction as a spray of blood and several white teeth flew out of his mouth, clattering onto the ground. Who the hell do you think you're acting for? I spat. Trying to act high and mighty in front of me? You think I actually want to marry into your ungrateful family? Luo Hai's face turned a violent shade of crimson. He was trembling, caught between humiliation and pure rage. You actually dared to hit me. So what if I did? I didn't give him a second to breathe. I lunged forward and buried my boot deep into his chest. There was a dull thud as the air left his lungs. The force sent him flying backward, and he crashed hard onto the ground like a sack of flour. He groaned, struggling to push himself up. Suddenly, a red light began to flicker across his skin. He was activating his awakened ability. Su-chun, he roared. You've pushed me too far. I didn't flinch. I stood my ground and beckoned him with a finger. Come on then. Do it. If you have the guts, hit me. Let's see if you survive the night after attacking an S-rank talent. Luo Hai froze. His hands, which had been balled into fists, started to shake. I saw the realization hit him like a cold shower. In the Dragon Kingdom, S-rank talents were protected by the strictest laws. Anyone caught attacking one faced an immediate death sentence. He stared at me, his mouth hanging open. What about you? I mocked, stepping closer. Come on. Weren't you going to kill me? Luo Hai deflated instantly, looking like a punctured balloon. He looked at me with confusion and fear. He couldn't understand how the old Su-chun, the quiet, honest kid who never said a word, had turned into this monster. But he still couldn't let it go. I gave you a chance, he hissed, backing away. You're just a pathetic orphan with no one to lean on. In 3 days, the young mistress will beat you until you're crawling on the floor looking for your teeth. Enough. A cold, sharp voice sliced through the tension. Luo Hai jumped and looked up. Luo Qingxue was walking toward us, her expression icy. Apologize to him, she commanded. Luo Hai's eyes widened. Miss? Why should I? Before he could finish, he gasped. The ground around his feet had begun to freeze, the ice creeping up toward his boots. His face went pale. I'm sorry, he stammered. He didn't understand why his mistress was so angry, or why she cared so much about a guy like me. I looked at him with pure disgust. What an ugly sight. Luo Qingxue shifted her gaze to me. After our duel in 3 days, there will be nothing left between us. I couldn't ask for anything more, I replied. I took a moment to look at her. She was wearing a simple, sleek tracksuit that couldn't hide her long, graceful legs. Her skin was as pale as jade, and her features were sharp and beautiful. She was easily the prettiest girl in the school, but my memories of her were a blur. Our parents had arranged our marriage 18 years ago. Back then, my parents had risked their lives to save hers during a beast riot. The two families became inseparable, and they promised us to each other the year we were born. But I was introverted, and she was cold. We barely spoke. Then, 3 years ago, I crossed over into this body right after my parents died in a dungeon. The moment they were gone, the Luo family showed their true colors. They demanded the engagement be canceled immediately. In the years since, they had risen to become the top family in Chuan City, leaving me behind in the dirt. Luo Qingxue reached into her pocket and pulled out a storage ring. This is compensation for Luo Hai's behavior. I took the ring without hesitation. Is this from your ungrateful parents, or is it from you? I wasn't going to turn down free stuff. Her parents owed me everything. After my parents sacrificed themselves for them, the Luos didn't lend a hand, they just cut ties. They were wolves in sheep's clothing. One day, I planned to make them pay back that debt 100 times over. Luo Qingxue was silent for a moment before changing the subject. In 3 days, I hope you show your full strength. Don't hold back on me. I could see a flicker of disappointment in her eyes when she thought about her own parents. Don't worry, I said firmly. In that fight, I'm not just fighting you. I'm showing your parents exactly what they threw away. She gave a small nod and walked away. Luo Hai scrambled off the ground and followed her like a kicked dog. That was incredible, Brother Chun. Han Xiaoli ran over, giving me a massive thumbs up. Stop kissing my ass, I laughed. Go get in line for the awakening ceremony. I need to head to the principal's office. We split up, and as I walked, I pulled up my system interface. It was time to get stronger. System, level me up, I whispered. Ding. Consuming 100 slaughter points to upgrade. The data on the screen blurred. I felt a surge of energy rush through my veins. In an instant, I jumped from a basic awakened to a level 1, rank 1 warrior. A small ball of raw energy began to swirl in my core. In this world, warriors were ranked from 1 to 10, with 10 subranks in each. Again, push me to rank 3. Ding. Consuming 500 slaughter points. Leveling up to level 1, rank 3. My cells felt like they were screaming with joy. It was a rush unlike anything I'd ever felt, way faster and more intense than normal meditation. Man, pay to win really is the way to go, I muttered, clenching my fist. I summoned my dark element, and the shadows in my palm were visibly thicker and more terrifying than before. I checked the cost for rank 4. 400 points. I decided to hold off for now. I needed to save some points to upgrade my combat techniques later. I pulled out the storage ring Luo Qingxue had given me. My eyes nearly popped out of my head. Inside were high-grade origin stones, precious bone-strengthening pills, and several spirit origin fruits. Just one of those fruits was worth 5 million credits on the open market. This whole haul was worth at least 10 million. Was she trying to make up for her parents' guilt? I slipped the ring onto my finger and headed toward the office. When I finally walked in, Principal Wang Donglai was waiting for me. Principal, I joked. I've been waiting so long, I almost grew a beard. Haha, you can blame yourself for that, he laughed. Every high school in the city is calling me, offering insane amounts of money to get you to transfer your S-rank registration to them. And you didn't say yes? I'm touched you're not moved by fame and fortune, Principal. Wang Donglai shook his head, a mischievous glint in his eye. Oh, it's not that. It's just that their offers were too low. If they want you, they're going to have to pay a lot more than that. I'll definitely have to give that some serious thought, I said, leaning back. People are going to start calling me the Ad Money Brother at this rate. Principal Wang Donglai stopped laughing and his expression turned serious. He poured me a cup of tea and placed 2 ancient, dark-colored books on the desk between us. This is the school's reward for your S-rank awakening, he said. Both are rank 2 combat techniques. The first is Dark Abyss Altar. It uses the dark element to create a swamp-like field under your enemy's feet. Once they're in, they're trapped. The second is Shadow Claw, which condenses dark energy into razor-sharp claws for direct attacks. Which one do you want? I didn't even hesitate. The more, the better, I said, my eyes gleaming as I swept both books into my pocket. Only a fool turns down free stuff. These rank 2 techniques were worth over 2 million credits each on the open market. In this world, techniques range from rank 1 to rank 9, and the price jumped exponentially with every level. The school was clearly going all out for me. Wang Donglai watched me hoard the books and chuckled. If you ever become a government official, you'll definitely be a corrupt one. He reached into his pocket and handed me a card. There's 500,000 credits on here. Buy whatever you need. Oh, Principal, you shouldn't have, I said, already tucking the card safely into my pocket. My hands were much more honest than my mouth. He took a sip of tea and changed the subject. Which university are you planning to apply for? Why the rush? I asked. Isn't the college entrance exam 10 days away? In this world, the exam happened 10 days after awakening. It was mostly a formality. Admissions were really based on your initial rank. They kept the schedule tight so students could get into specialized training as fast as possible. It's 10 days away, yes, Wang Donglai said. But your phone is about to start blowing up. You're going to have to meet recruiters from the top academies very soon. I frowned. Did you leak my number, Principal? I had no choice, he sighed. Our city produced 2 S ranks this year. The 5 great academies are already circling like vultures. I felt a headache coming on. If my phone was going to be ringing off the hook, I'd rather just wait for the recruiters to show up in person. I'll wait until they get here, I decided. I want to see what kind of offers they bring to the table. Talking over the phone lacks sincerity. Wang Donglai nodded. Fair enough. They'll likely arrive on the day of your duel with Luo Qingxue. You should research them before then. Give me the rundown, I said. The 5 great academies are Mowu, Jingwu, Beiwu, Guangwu, and Zhenwu. Mowu and Jingwu are the absolute peak, but all 5 are elite. You can choose based on who offers the best terms. I stood up. Thanks, Principal. I'll decide when I see the benefits. I'm going where the money is. Go on then, he waved me off. Focus on your training. Your duel with Luo Qingxue is in 3 days. Win or lose, use it as a learning experience. It'll be a tough fight. The Luo family has deep pockets and the best resources. I stopped at the door and looked back. Losing isn't an option for me. Wang Donglai shook his head at my arrogance, but as I walked away, his smile froze. He sensed the energy radiating off me. Rank 1, level 3? He rubbed his eyes, wondering if he was seeing things. It was impossible to jump 3 levels immediately after awakening unless I was using some kind of cheat. He decided he must have been mistaken. Once I was off campus, I found a quiet corner and pulled out the technique books. A system notification pinged in my brain. Rank 2 technique Shadow Claw detected. Upgrade available. Rank 2 technique Dark Abyss Alter detected. Upgrade available. I knew how this worked. Techniques had mastery levels. Entry, small success, great success, perfection, and true intent. System, how many points to reach entry level? I asked. 200 points per technique. 400 total. Do it, I commanded. Information flooded my mind. Every movement, every flow of energy, and every tactical detail of both Shadow Claw and Dark Abyss Alter burned into my memory. It felt like I had been practicing them for decades. The muscle memory was perfect. I smiled. This pay-to-win system was incredibly satisfying. Now, I just needed a place to test my new power. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was my uncle, Su Tian phone. Hey uncle, I said. What's up? Xiao Chun, I heard you awakened your ability today. Well, don't keep me hanging. What did you get? I grinned. S rank, Dark Element. Not bad, right? My uncle had raised me since my parents died 3 years ago. We were all each other had. He treated me like his own son, always giving me the best of everything. S rank. He laughed over the phone. Don't lie to your uncle just to make me happy. S ranks don't grow on trees. It's okay if it's a D rank, kid. I'm serious, It's fine. It's fine. He interrupted, his voice warm. No matter what you got, I'll take care of you. You'll never go hungry as long as I'm around. Anyway, I've got to go. I'm heading outside the city walls to hunt some beasts. I'll bring back some high-quality meat tonight, and we'll have a drink. My ears perked up at the word hunt. Killing beasts meant earning more kill points. I needed to test my new techniques and my S-rank weapon, the Death Magic Lotus. Uncle, I said quickly, take me with you. Are you crazy? He barked. You just awakened. Monsters are no joke. My uncle, Su Tianfeng, said sternly over the phone. I didn't back down. Uncle, I've already awakened my ability. Just take me along to see how things work. I promise I won't run off. I'll follow every single one of your orders. I knew I was lying. Following orders wasn't exactly my strong suit. There was a long silence on the other end. Finally, my uncle sighed, his resolve crumbling. Fine, I'll take you to open your eyes. But kid, I mean it, don't you dare wander off. You hear me? Loud and clear, Commander. Send me your location. I'm on my way. He hung up. A few seconds later, a ping notification hit my phone. I scanned a QR code on a shared bike nearby, hopped on, and started pedaling toward the city gates as fast as I could. While I was racing through the streets, things were tense at the Luo family mansion. I heard you gave Su Chun some cultivation resources, Luo Dongshan said, his eyes fixed on his daughter, Luo Qingxue. I did, she replied, her voice cold and distant. Luo Dongshan opened his mouth to argue, but then he stopped himself. He waved a hand dismissively. Whatever. It's just a few resources. Consider it repayment for the time Su Qin's parents saved our family. Giving him a few scraps doesn't change anything. In his mind, those resources were nothing compared to what the Luo family had invested in Qingxue. To him, the result of our 3-year duel was already a settled matter. Qingxue felt a wave of disgust. How could a few pills ever repay a life-saving debt? But he was her father. I'm going to my room, she said, turning away. What's the rush? Luo Dongshan called out, raising his voice. The 5 major academies just called. They're arriving in Chuan City in 3 days to recruit you. Coincidentally, that's the same day as your duel with Su Chun. I expect you to perform well. Show them your true power. He knew the scouts would watch the fight before making their offers. I will, she muttered. Luo Dongshan sighed as he watched her walk away. Don't blame me, daughter. Status matters. Su Chun is an orphan. He's not worthy of our family. I'll give him more resources later to settle the debt, but you belong at the top. Qingxue closed her eyes, her face twisted in loathing. Filthy, she whispered. Filthy or not, it doesn't matter, her father shouted after her. Hate me if you want, but I'm giving you a better future. In 3 days, you will be the protagonist. Our family will be the center of attention. Qingxue didn't respond. She just kept walking, her mind a mess of confusion. She didn't know whether she should throw the fight or give it her all. Luo Dongshan didn't care about her inner struggle. He turned to his servants. Go. Spread the word. Tell everyone the 5 academies are coming and that my daughter is fighting Su Chun. I want every major power in the city to witness her glory. Meanwhile, I arrived at the city gates. It was packed with people. Hey, Tianfeng. Heading out to hunt, a man named Li Hengshan called out. He was leading a group of 4. My uncle frowned. That's the plan, Hengshan. You taking your team out too? Yeah, Li Hengshan said with a fake, oily smile. Why don't we team up? We can look out for each other. No thanks, my uncle replied. We'll stick to our own path. It's easier that way. Li Hengshan's face darkened instantly. Su Tianfeng, I'm calling you brother out of respect. Don't push your luck. Watch your mouth, one of my uncle's teammates snapped, standing up tall. Oh, I like talking this way. What are you going to do about it? Li Hengshan put his hands on his hips, acting like he owned the place. My uncle signaled his team to calm down. He didn't want a scene. Fine, say what you want. He turned to walk away, trying to find a quieter spot to wait for me. Don't go yet, Li Hengshan shouted. I lost the last bet to you. Let's go again. Or are you a coward now? My uncle stopped. He tried to be the bigger man, but this guy was pushing it. What's the bet? Simple. By sunset, whichever team has the highest value of monster kills wins. I'll put up a top-tier bone-crushing pill. You put up that weapon I lost to you last time. Deal. Li Hengshan pulled out a glowing golden pill and tossed it in the air. I saw my uncle's eyes light up. That pill was exactly what he needed for his next stage of cultivation. But then he looked at his team. They were weaker than Li's crew. The odds were terrible. Uncle, do it, I said, stepping up and clapping him on the shoulder. My uncle looked relieved to see me. Xiaoqin, you're here. I'm here. Accept the bet. Trust me. Looking into my eyes, my uncle gritted his teeth. Fine, Li Hengshan. I accept. 5 against 5. If my nephew isn't scared, neither am I. Li Hengshan looked at me with a sneer. Well, if it isn't little Su Chun. So, what kind of low-level ability did you awaken? Something useless. I looked him straight in the eye. Actually, I awakened a moron sensing ability. Every time I look at a moron, I know exactly what they are. Li Hengshan blinked. Moron sensing? That sounds, wait. Are you calling me a moron? I didn't say the word, I said, shrugging innocently. I'm just looking. He turned bright red. You little brat. Are you looking for a beating? Back off. My uncle stepped in front of me, his hand on his weapon. The air turned cold. It was a second away from a total brawl. I stepped out from behind my uncle, acting casual. Hey, why so angry? If you're so confident, let's raise the stakes. If we lose, not only will I kowtow and apologize to you, but I'll give you this. I held up my hand, showing off a storage ring. Li Hengshan's eyes nearly popped out of his head with greed. Even a basic storage ring was worth millions. Deal, he barked. Hold on, I said, pulling my hand back. Don't be so greedy. What are you adding to the pot? Li Hongshan pulled out 2 mid-tier bone-crushing pills. I'll kowtow to you, plus these 2 pills. Fair. Not enough, I said flatly. He hissed through his teeth and pulled out a D-rank combat blade. And this? Now is it enough? I smiled. Yeah, that'll do. Li Hongshan grinned back, looking like he'd already won. He had no idea what was coming for him. Today, I'm going to make a fortune, Li Hongshan bragged to his crew. Let's go, brothers. It's time to give this spoiled brat his first real lesson in life. He looked at our group with pure contempt. My uncle's team was a mix of the old and the weak, and then there was me, a greenhorn who had just awakened. To Li Hongshan, we had 0 chance of winning. He was already dreaming about how he'd humiliate me at sunset. My uncle, Su Tianfeng, pulled me aside, his face full of worry. Chen, what are you thinking? Why would you bet that ring? I told you, uncle, I whispered. I awakened an S-rank ability. We've already won this. He stared at me, his eyes filled with doubt. An S-rank? Are you serious? I wouldn't lie to you. By sunset, you're going to watch that loudmouth kowtow and beg for your forgiveness. I meant it. I could handle people looking down on me, but I couldn't stand them disrespecting my uncle. Su Tianfeng sighed, still only half believing me. Listen, even if we lose, I'm the captain. I'll take the fall. I'll do the kowtowing for you. Just don't push yourself too hard, okay? Don't talk like that, I said, giving him a playful shove toward the gate. We've got monsters to hunt. Let's move. We geared up and headed out. Our destination was the wilderness beyond the city walls. Hundreds of years ago, the world changed. Plants and animals mutated into vicious monsters. Humans built high walls for protection and evolved abilities to fight back. But the reality was grim. Most monsters could easily crush a human of the same level. Only those with high-rank abilities stood a real chance at soloing them. At the gate, the guards checked our permits and let us through. The heavy gates groaned open, revealing the wasteland. My uncle pulled out a map. It showed the monster distribution zones. There were beginner areas for levels 1 through 5, and more dangerous zones for level 10 veterans. I say we head to the Withered Woods, one of our teammates suggested. If we want to beat Li Hongshan, that's our only shot at finding high-level prey. But that place is dangerous, another countered. I heard level 7 monsters roam there. Can we handle that? If we don't go, we lose, the first man snapped. We have to gamble. Enough, Su Tianfeng barked. We're going to the Withered Woods. We risk it all, or we go home empty-handed. As we hiked, my uncle glanced back at me. I was practically vibrating with excitement, rubbing my hands together. Why are you so hyped up? He asked, sounding confused. Most kids are shaking in their boots the first time they leave the walls. I've been waiting for this my whole life, I told him. He gave a dry laugh. All right, let's see this great ability of yours. But stay behind us. Don't be a hero. He probably thought I was just some overeager kid who didn't understand the danger. I didn't blame him. I'd only been an awakened for a few hours. I hadn't even reached level 1 yet. To him, me fighting a monster was a suicide mission. The terrain grew jagged and desolate. Giant skeletons of long-dead beasts littered the path, half buried in the dirt. Finally, we reached the Withered Woods. Everything was a sickly shade of yellow. Tall, dry grass tangled with rotting trees. The moment we stepped inside, we saw them. 4 rotting rats were huddled around a carcass, the sound of their wet, crunching chewing echoing through the trees. Stay sharp, Su Tianfeng hissed. The team drew their weapons. My uncle turned to me. Chun, stay here. The rest of you, circle those 4 rats. Move. I watched them creep forward. My heart started racing. Do I have a scan function? I thought. I need to see what I'm dealing with. A chime echoed in my head. System scanning function activated. Host can now inspect monsters and people. Perfect. I focused on the nearest rat. A blue screen flickered in my vision. Name, Rotting Rat Rank, Level 4 Attribute, Poison Reward, 20 slaughter points. 20 points? My eyes widened. If I killed 5,000 of these, I could evolve my Death Lotus. It sounded like a lot, but it was a start. I stayed back and watched the team work. My uncle was level 5, and the others were level 4. They knew what they were doing. Old 2, crowd control. Old 3, buff me, my uncle commanded. One teammate cast a green glow over my uncle, boosting his speed. The other slammed his hands down, summoning jagged rocks that boxed the rats in. My uncle blurred into motion. His heavy blade flashed in the dim light. Slash, slash, slash. 3 rats died instantly. But as he swung for the 4th, the creature's eyes turned a vicious red. It dove into a hole in the dirt, disappearing instantly. "He's tunneling," someone yelled. The ground bulged, moving fast, straight toward the back of the line. Straight toward me. My uncle's face went pale. "Chun, get out of there." I turned my head and saw the rotting rat emerging from the dirt. It was less than 3 meters away. It leaped high into the air, its sharp claws glistening with a cold, lethal light as it lunged straight for my throat. My pupils shrank. My uncle's face went pale with terror. "Chun, get out of the way," he screamed. In their eyes, I was just a kid who had awakened his ability a few hours ago. There was no way I could survive a frontal assault from a level 4 monster. They scrambled forward, desperate to reach me, but they were too far away. I didn't panic. I didn't even flinch. I calmly raised my hand toward the sky. Suddenly, the air grew heavy with a suffocating pressure. A massive claw made of pure dark energy materialized in the air above us. It was huge, shadowy, and terrifying. It slammed down onto the rat like the hand of a god. A shrill, agonizing screech ripped through the forest. The rotting rat didn't stand a chance. It was flattened instantly, turned into a bloody smear on the forest floor. Silence fell over the clearing. The 4 veteran hunters stood frozen, their eyes wide as saucers. He one-shot it, one of them stammered. "A level 4 monster, gone in a second. Is this really the power of an S-rank ability?" Their expressions were like people on a roller coaster. One second they were mourning my death, and the next, they were looking at a monster in human skin. "Tianfeng," one teammate whispered. "Did you really say your nephew just awakened today? You've got to be kidding me. This kind of power is ridiculous." My uncle, Su Tianfeng, looked just as confused as they were. He rubbed his chin, muttering to himself. Had he remembered the date wrong? How could I be level 3 already? The S-rank shadow element was supposed to be rare, but this was beyond anything he'd ever seen. He looked at his team and shrugged. "Don't ask me. I have no idea what's going on." The 3 men turned their intense, searching gazes toward me. They looked like curious puppies, trying to figure out my secret. Inside my head, the system chimed again. "Kill confirmed. Level 4 rotting rat. Slaughter points plus 20. I smiled to myself. Not bad. That shadow claw was incredibly cool. Who said the shadow element was weak? I looked up at the men staring at me. "Why are you guys looking at me like that?" "Because of you, you brat," my uncle yelled, though he was grinning. "When exactly did you awaken? How are you already level 3? He clearly wanted to believe he'd just gotten the dates mixed up. No one in the history of the Dragon Kingdom had reached level 3 on their first day. "It was today, uncle," I said, giving him a flat look. "I told you I awakened an S-rank ability. Now do you believe me?" He scratched his head. It didn't make sense, but he stopped trying to figure it out. He stepped forward and pulled me into a massive bear hug. "You brat. An S-rank shadow user. We actually have one in the family." "Of course," I laughed, patting his back. "Why else do you think I let you take that bet?" His smile faltered for a second, his eyes softening with a hint of sadness. "If your parents knew, they would be so proud." The Su family finally produced a genius. I didn't want the mood to get heavy. "All right, uncle, let's talk about something happy." "You're right," he barked, wiping his eyes. "When we get back, I'm taking you to a foot massage parlor to celebrate." I raised an eyebrow. "Is this a legal massage parlor, uncle?" He swiped at the back of my head. "What are you thinking? Of course it's legal." The other team members crowded around me now, their attitudes completely flipped. "Hey, little Chun, you got a girlfriend? My sister is 13. If you don't mind the wait, we could set something up." "Screw off," another shouted. "She's 13. You want to go to jail?" "Little brother Sue, I'm 40, but if you don't mind the age gap, let's become sworn brothers. I'll call you Big Brother from now on." They knew an S-rank talent was destined for greatness. They were desperate to build a connection while they could. I felt a bit overwhelmed. "You guys don't have to do all that. You've been with my uncle for years. If I make it big, I won't forget you." They all beamed, satisfied with that promise. Su Tianfeng stepped back and turned serious. "All right, enough. Don't scare the kid. Chun, do you want to stay with us, or are you going solo?" Solo, I said immediately. I want to hunt more efficiently. My uncle expected as much. He pulled out 2 vials of blue liquid. Take these. They're energy recovery potions. As an elementalist, you'll burn through your internal energy fast. Think of it like mana. Once you're out, you're vulnerable. I took the vials. Thanks, uncle. You guys stay safe too. If you run into something you can't handle, just yell for me. Listen to this brat, giving me advice. He laughed. Just take care of yourself. I didn't waste any more time. I turned and vanished into the thick brush. Behind me, I heard one of the men sigh. Old Sue, you really have a great nephew. But seriously, my sister is looking for a boyfriend. Forget your sister, my uncle snapped, though his voice was thick with pride. We have monsters to kill. Meanwhile, in another part of the forest, Li Hongshan was leading his team. He swung his blade, cleanly decapitating a cat demon. Boss, are we really going to win? One of his lackeys asked nervously. Li Hongshan wiped blood from his blade. Of course. That team is made of washed-up veterans and a kid. It's an easy win. That's a relief, the lackey said. He glanced back at a small, heavily wrapped figure following them. What about that guy? Li Hongshan turned a cold gaze toward the stranger. Kid, I brought you outside the city like you paid for. From here on, you're on your own. Sink or swim. The stranger looked furious. You can't do that. I paid you to help me hunt. Li Hongshan let out a mocking laugh. You're an idiot. Out here, I am the law. Say one more word, and I'll leave your corpse for the scavengers. The stranger trembled with rage, but remained silent. Whatever, the stranger hissed, turning to walk away in the opposite direction. Look at him go, stomping off like a little girl, Li Hongshan laughed. He turned back to his men, a sly glint in his eyes. The bet didn't say we couldn't borrow kills from the other team. Let's see if we can find one of Su Tianfeng's men alone. I had no idea I was being hunted. I was too busy. Kill confirmed. Level 3 Phantom Cat. Slaughter points plus 15. Kill confirmed. Level 3 Sky Piercing Rat. Slaughter points plus 15. By the time I had been on my own for an hour, I had already taken down over a dozen monsters. The hunt was just beginning. I was in my element. Dealing with monsters at my current level felt as natural as breathing. Before I knew it, I had wandered deep into the heart of the withered forest. The distant roars of powerful beasts echoed through the trees, setting my nerves on edge. Just as I started looking for my next target, a long, piercing howl cut through the air. The sound pulled my gaze toward a jagged rocky slope. Standing there, silhouetted against the dim light, was a Gale wolf. I focused my mind, and its stats appeared in my vision. Name, Gale wolf. Rank, level 1, 5th stage. Attribute, wind. Note, social creature. Kill reward, 30 slaughter points. Level 5. This was exactly the challenge I needed. A surge of excitement rushed through me. Let's see what I can do, I whispered. I moved to strike, but the wolf was fast. It sensed the danger and turned to bolt. I couldn't let that happen. To me, that wasn't just a wolf. It was 30 slaughter points walking away on 4 legs. I wanted those points more than a starving dog wants a bone. I tapped into my dark element. My eyes swirled with pure black energy, turning into twin vortexes of shadow. Abyssal mire. I growled. Suddenly, a pool of thick, pitch-black liquid erupted beneath the wolf's paws. It looked like a gateway to hell itself. The Gale wolf shivered, its eyes wide with terror. It tried to leap away, but its limbs were trapped in the sludge, sinking deeper with every struggle. While it was pinned, I raised my hand toward the sky. Dark energy coalesced into a massive, jagged claw. Boom. The shadow claw slammed down, crushing the wolf into the dirt. The impact was devastating. The beast lay there, mangled and bleeding, its crimson blood staining the dark earth. But it wasn't dead yet. With a final, desperate snarl, it forced itself out of the mire and lunged at me. Still got some fight in you? Good, I muttered. I closed my eyes for a split second. Dark energy surged through my veins like black fire, gathering in my palms. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't empty-handed. I was holding a massive, 2-meter-long scythe, the Death Demon Lotus. It was a masterpiece of carnage. The blade was forged from matte black metal, glowing with a faint, blood-red light at the edges. The long handle was etched with ancient silver runes and a dark red crystal, the eye of the death god, was embedded at the center, pulsing like a heartbeat. This was an S-rank semi-god artifact. Just holding it made me feel like I could split the world in half. I gave it a light, experimental swing, leaving trails of black stardust in the air. The wolf reached me, jaws snapping. I didn't even blink. I swung the scythe in a wide, brutal arc. Squelch. One swing. 2 clean halves. Kill confirmed. Level 1, 5th stage Gale Wolf. Slaughter points plus 30. I wiped a spray of blood from my cheek and grinned. Man, this feels good. The Death Demon Lotus was perfect, powerful, stylish, and terrifying. Combined with my dark element, I felt invincible. There was just one problem. That little display had drained my energy reserves. I was running on empty. Then, I remembered the spirit source fruits Luo Qingxue had given me. I pulled one out, a golden, orange-sized fruit that smelled like heaven. I checked its properties and nearly dropped it. Wait, it gives a permanent boost to energy capacity? I didn't hesitate. I bit into it, and a wave of sweet, warm energy flooded my body. I wolfed down the rest of them in seconds. My internal energy surged, expanding until I felt like I had 3 times the capacity I started with. Now, I could keep the scythe out much longer. I tossed the wolf's carcass into my storage ring and headed up the slope where it had first appeared. When I reached the top, I saw why it had been howling. Down in a clearing, a pack of about a dozen Gale wolves, mostly level 3 and 4, were relentlessly attacking a golden barrier. Inside that glowing dome was a small, heavily wrapped figure. The first wolf hadn't been hunting me. It had been calling for backup to finish off this survivor. Should I help? I weighed my options for a second before a wicked smile crossed my face. A dozen wolves meant hundreds of slaughter points. Saving whoever was inside was just a bonus. The real prize was the massacre. I gripped the Death Demon Lotus, letting the blade trail behind me as I walked down the hill like a harbinger of doom. Inside the barrier, a girl named Shi Yaoyao was spiraling into despair. She shouldn't have snuck out alone to hunt. Her father was right. She wasn't ready. Curiosity really does kill the cat. Just as she was about to give up, she saw me. I was a dark silhouette in a black hoodie, dragging a massive scythe through the dirt. "Oh no," she whimpered, her voice trembling. "It's over. The Grim Reaper is actually here to get me." But as I got closer, she squinted. She used a sensing skill, and her eyes widened with confusion. The good news? I was human. The bad news? I was only a level 1, 3rd stage cultivator. To her, I was walking into a suicide mission. "Hey, run," she screamed. "Don't come over here. Save yourself." I paused, confused by her voice. It sounded like she was trying to force a deep, husky tone through a throat full of gravel. Where was that sound even coming from? The wolves heard her too. They turned as one, their eyes glowing with hunger. To them, I was just a fresh delivery. "Oh whoa," the alpha gave the signal. 2 wolves blurred toward me like gray streaks. I didn't even break my stride. I raised my left hand, and a shadow claw materialized in midair, swatting the first wolf into a tree with a sickening crack. With my right hand, I whipped the Death Demon Lotus forward. A flash of black light followed the blade. The second wolf was severed midair, its guts spilling onto the grass. Asterisk kill confirmed. Level 3 Gale Wolf. Points plus 15. Asterisk. Asterisk kill confirmed. Level 4 Gale Wolf. Points plus 20. Asterisk. I let out a low, dark laugh that probably sounded more terrifying than the wolves. "My points," I whispered, my eyes locking onto the rest of the pack. "Come to Papa." I didn't wait for them to charge again. I dove headfirst into the pack, the black scythe dancing in my hands, reaping everything in its path. I combined my shadow claw with the cold steel of the Death Demon Lotus, and the forest erupted into a symphony of whimpers. Within minutes, a dozen Gale wolves were reduced to just 2. The greed in their eyes had vanished, replaced by a primal, soul-deep terror. I could see the confusion in their gaze. They were wondering who the real hunter was. They weren't surrounding me anymore. I had them trapped. The last 2 lost their nerve and bolted. Trying to run, I growled. I slammed my fist into the dirt. The ground fractured instantly, and 2 abyssal altars erupted beneath their paws, pinning them to the spot. "You growled at me, and now you want to leave? It doesn't work like that." I leaped forward, landing right in front of them. 2 quick flashes of black light, and the whimpering stopped. Kill confirmed. Level 4 Gale Wolf. Points plus 20. Kill confirmed. Level 4 Gale Wolf. Points plus 20. I was hitting the jackpot. Between these and the ones from before, my total kill points had skyrocketed to 480. On top of that, these carcasses had rare parts that would fetch a high price back in the city. I was looking at a pile of cold, hard cash. I swept the bodies into my storage ring and turned to leave. The person I'd saved, Xiaoyao, was staring at me like I was a ghost. She looked completely lost. Just moments ago, she was screaming for me to run, and now I'd wiped out an entire pack single-handedly. I could tell she was wondering if I really was the Grim Reaper in the flesh. Beasts and humans aren't the same, I muttered, heading past her. Come on. Wait, she whispered, still using that ridiculous, forced gravelly voice. I stopped dead in my tracks and turned around. If you use that fake deep voice one more time, I'm going to smack you right in the head. Xiaoyao flinched and immediately switched to a high-pitched, childish boy's voice. It sounded absurd coming from someone wrapped up like a mummy. Hey, you can't just save someone and walk away. Why not? I asked, looking her up and down. She was short, skinny, and covered in layers of cloth. You're not exactly a beauty who's going to marry me out of gratitude. You look like a mental patient. She opened her mouth to argue, then paused, her eyes darting around. I might not be a beauty, but I can give you money. I stopped. Why didn't you say so? I don't ask for much. Just a small goal of 100 million. Her eyes nearly popped out of her head. 100 million? Is that even a real number? You're insane. You said you'd pay. I shrugged. Don't promise what you can't deliver. Now stop wasting my time. I have monsters to kill. Wait, she shouted again, grabbing my arm. I can't give you that much cash, but I can give you a cultivation technique for the shadow element. I paused. Shadow techniques were incredibly rare. Right now, I was using a basic universal method. If I could get my hands on a dedicated shadow manual, my power would explode. For real? I asked, skeptical. I swear. I can give it to you as soon as we get back to Chuan City, she said earnestly. How can I trust a mummy? She pulled out a phone. Here, add me on WeChat first. Then, she pulled out a storage ring and shook it. You saved me. I won't stiff you. There are high-grade bone-crushing pills and origin stones in here. They're yours. I didn't hesitate. I snatched the ring, pocketed the pills, and scanned her QR code. A profile picture of a cute, soft anime girl popped up. I looked from the phone to the weirdo in front of me. Wait, are you one of those guys who uses fake girl photos to scam lonely dudes online? Xiaoyao froze. You scammer? I'll kill you. She started swinging her tiny fists at me. Yeah. Good luck with that, I said, dodging her easily. I'm leaving. She jumped in front of me, blocking the path. You're not allowed to go. Move, or I'll cut you down. I'm not kidding. Then do it, she yelled, standing her ground. Well, look who we have here. If it isn't the family failure. A mocking voice drifted through the trees. Li Hongshan walked into the clearing, a greasy smirk plastered on his face. He'd probably been following the sound of the wolves. He looked at me, then at Xiaoyao, the person he'd kicked out of his own group earlier. Oh, it's the big idiot, I laughed. What's up? Looking for your grandpa. Li Hongshan's face darkened. Without Su Tianfeng here, you're just a dead man talking. Hand over that storage ring right now, or I'll break both your legs. He looked at me like I was a winning lottery ticket. To him, I was the weakest link in my uncle's team. Easy prey. Xiaoyao leaned in and whispered, we should run. He's a level 1, 6-stage cultivator. We can't win. I'm not running, I said. I'm going to crack his skull open. But he's 3 stages higher than you, she hissed. Trust me, I've got this. She bit her lip, looking between me and the arrogant hunter. Fine. If you kill him, I'll give you a level 3 shadow combat skill on top of the manual. My eyes lit up. Wait, really? Do you have a grudge against him? He took my money to protect me and then dumped me in the middle of the woods, she fumed. He's a piece of trash. Say no more. Leave him to me. I realized then why she looked familiar. She was the baggage Li Hongshan had been complaining about earlier. Are you two done whispering? Li Hongshan barked, laughing so hard he had to hold his stomach. 2 rookies who just awakened are planning to kill me? This is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Unless you're cheating at life, you don't stand a chance. Is that so? I smirked. System, use the points. Asterisk ding. 400 points consumed. Host level upgraded to level 1, 4th stage. Asterisk. You had your chance to walk away. Li Hongshan growled, drawing his blade. Now I'm adding 2 more bodies to my count. He lunged, but halfway through his step, he jerked to a stop. He looked down, his face twisting in terror. A pool of black shadow had formed under his feet, tendrils of dark energy wrapping around his ankles like chains. What is this? He screamed. It's your grave, I said. I blurred forward. The death demon lotus cut through the air in a heavy arc. Li Hongshan desperately raised his longsword to block. Crack. The sound of shattering metal echoed through the woods. His level 1 blade snapped like a toothpick. The scythe didn't stop. It sheared through his arm and bit deep into his shoulder. F. He collapsed to his knees, clutching the stump of his arm, his eyes wide with disbelief. My sword, how? It's a reinforced blade. I pressed the cold edge of the scythe against his throat. You're pathetic. I thought you'd at least last 3 hits. How? How are you this strong? He gasped, blood leaking through his fingers. You're at the 4th stage? You just awakened. It's impossible. He was finally realizing the truth. My talent wasn't weak. It was terrifying. There's a lot you don't know, I whispered. I'll tell you what. I'll let you live, but only if you can recite pi to the 10,000th decimal point right now. Li Hongshan stared at me, his face pale. He knew I was mocking him. He knew he was dead. Su Chun, you can't do this. Murder is against the law. Li Hongshan shrieked. If you kill me, you'll never get away with it. He was desperately clinging to the hope that I feared the law. He actually thought I'd hesitate. Going after humans is illegal, I said, my voice cold as ice. But putting down a beast like you? That's just doing the world a favor. I didn't give him another second. I swung the scythe with a brutal snap. His head rolled away before he could even blink. A notification flashed in my vision. I stared at the screen, stunned. Was the system serious? Killing a person gave me double the points of a monster. It felt like the system was practically begging me to become a butcher. I didn't feel the panic I expected after my first kill. Instead, a strange, dark thrill raced through my veins. Wow, a voice whispered. What kind of ability do you actually have? I looked up. Shi Yaoyao was staring at me, her eyes shimmering with pure worship. She looked at me like I was some kind of god. It's just an S-rank dark element, I said, keeping my tone casual. She went quiet, looking like she'd been slapped. Just S-rank? People would die for that power, and you're acting like it's nothing. She paused, her brow furrowing. Wait, weren't you just awakened today? Yeah. So, Shi Yaoyao looked like her world was collapsing. Her father had told her that reaching the 1st stage, level 1 on the first day, was a miracle. Reaching level 2 made you a once-in-a-century genius. She focused her senses on me, trying to see if she'd miscounted my rank. Her eyes widened even further. I wasn't level 3 anymore. In the blink of an eye, I had jumped to level 4. How are you so ridiculous? She stammered. Level 4 already? I awakened today too, and I'm barely level 1. This isn't fair. Just luck, I lied. I knelt down and started looting Li Hongshan's body. My hand brushed against something cold and glass-like in his pocket. I pulled out a shimmering, golden pill. A top-grade bone-crushing pill. My heart skipped a beat. In this world, resources were ranked from trash to top-grade. Most markets only saw high-grade pills, and those went for 300,000 credits. A top-grade version was priceless. It was the key to the bone-crushing stage. Most cultivators in the country only managed 9 rounds of bone tempering. But legends spoke of a 10th round, the perfect bone. They called it golden bone, because the skeleton would literally shine like pure gold. With my system, I knew I had to try for it. I kept searching and found 2 high-grade pills and a D-rank combat dagger. Between the pills and the gear, I was holding nearly 1,000,000 credits worth of loot. No wonder people said robbery was the fastest way to get rich. Hey, what's your name? Shi Yaoyao asked from behind me. Su Chun. Wait, the Su Chun. She tilted her head. I don't know you personally, but I've heard the rumors. Something about a massive fallout with the Luo family. Something like that, I muttered. And you? She gave me a mysterious smile. I'm not telling. Come find me tomorrow, and maybe I'll let it slip. Not interested. I'm busy. I turned to leave. I had monsters to hunt. If you don't show up, you can forget about that dark element cultivation manual and the level 3 skill book, she shouted. I stopped and rolled my eyes. Fine. Where and when? 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. At the City Lord's manor. I looked at her suspiciously. She was loaded with gear and lived at the manor. Are you the City Lord's daughter? No, she blurted out, her face turning red. I just live nearby. In the neighborhood. Whatever, I said. I picked up Li Hongshan's severed head and tossed it into my storage ring. I'm going back to hunting. Do what you want. Wait for me, she chirped, following me like a lost puppy. By sunset, we reached the city gates. My uncle, Su Tianfeng, was already there, looking defeated. How many did you get, old man? Li Ming, one of Li Hongshan's lackeys, shouted with a sneer. My uncle sighed and dumped his bag. For rotting rats and a few blood crows. Total value, maybe 140,000 credits. That's it. Li Ming laughed, his voice booming for everyone to hear. That's pathetic. Look at us. His team stepped forward, showing off 15 monster carcasses worth over 200,000. Su Tianfeng, you're washed up, Li Ming mocked. Our boss hasn't even shown up yet, and we've already crushed you. When he gets here, he's going to grind your face into the dirt. We're not done yet, my uncle growled. Xiao Chen hasn't returned. You're seriously betting on a kid who just awakened? Li Ming doubled over laughing. Stop dreaming. Just get on your knees and start apologizing. Who's the one talking big? I asked, walking calmly toward the group. Li Ming turned, his grin widening. Oh, the brat survived? I figured you'd be hiding in a hole somewhere. Hiding? I tilted my head. I came back to watch you crawl on the floor. Li Ming roared with laughter. Hear that, boys? He wants us to crawl. Before he could finish his sentence, I flicked my wrist. I opened my storage ring and let the contents spill out. Asterisk thud. 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 Asterisk. Dozens of monster carcasses slammed onto the pavement, stacking higher and higher until they formed a literal mountain of flesh and fur. Li Ming's laughter died in his throat. He stared at the pile, his face turning a sickly shade of white. There were dozens of them. It was impossible. My uncle, Su Tianfeng, stood frozen. He stared at the mountain of carcasses, his jaw hanging open. He had expected me to bring back a few rats, maybe a crow or two. He didn't expect dozens. He certainly didn't expect to see level 5 monsters in the pile. He looked at me like I was a stranger, wondering when his nephew had become powerful enough to slaughter high-level beasts alone. Laugh, I said, looking at Li Ming. Go on. Keep laughing. Li Ming's face twisted. He was desperate to believe it was a lie. There's no way. You bought these. You're just putting on a show to look tough. He was screaming now, hysterical. To him, I was just a kid who had awakened his ability yesterday. A rookie shouldn't have this kind of power. I didn't feel like explaining. With a flick of my wrist, I summoned the Death Lotus. The dark energy hummed as I pressed the cold edge of the blade against his throat. How about now? I asked. Li Ming turned pale. A chill ran from his feet to his skull. He swallowed hard, his eyes bulging. You can't kill me. My boss, Li Hongshan, will be back any second. Your boss. I reached into my bag and pulled out a severed head. I tossed it onto the ground. It was Li Hongshan, his face frozen in a mask of terror, blood still fresh. You mean this guy? Li Ming's pupils shrunk to pinpricks. He stopped breathing. His legs seemed bolted to the pavement. His boss, the man he worshipped, had been slaughtered like an animal. Fear hit him like a tidal wave. I saw his mind racing, trying to find a way out. Suddenly, he wound up his leg and kicked Li Hongshan's head away like a soccer ball. Su Chun, don't talk nonsense. Li Ming shouted, his voice cracking. Li Hongshan isn't my boss. I cut ties with that loser ages ago. He dropped to his knees faster than I thought possible. A greasy, flattering smile plastered onto his face. Greetings, Big Brother Su. He spun around to his lackeys. What are you idiots waiting for? Greet Big Brother Su. The other two hunters didn't hesitate. They hit the ground with a loud thud. Big Brother Su. Lord Su. Father Su. I don't have sons as pathetic as you, I spat. Apologize to my uncle. They scrambled towards Su Tianfeng, slamming their foreheads against the ground 3 times in a row. We were wrong. We're trash. We should never have mocked you. My uncle blinked, stunned by the sudden shift. Just don't follow men like Li Hongshan anymore. Of course, sir. We're going to be good citizens from now on. We'll help old ladies cross the street every day. Enough, I growled, waving them off. Leave your valuables and get out of my sight. If you want revenge, come find me. Revenge? We wouldn't dare. They fumbled to drop their pills and weapons, then bolted like their lives depended on it. They weren't stupid. Attacking an S-rank talent was a death sentence for their entire families. Xiao Chun, my uncle said, his voice thick with pride. You really made me proud today. This is just the start, uncle. Better days are coming. He smiled, but then a shadow of worry crossed his face. But you killed Li Hongshan. Is that going to be a problem? Don't worry. He attacked me first. In this country, attacking an S-rank talent is an automatic death penalty. I just carried out the sentence early. My uncle finally relaxed. Then let's go home. Tonight, you and I are going to have a real drink. As we reached the city gates, I turned to the young man who had followed us back. We're at the gate. Time to go our separate ways. Fine by me, my savior, he said, skipping toward the entrance with a strange, excited energy. See you tomorrow morning. I watched him go, my eyes narrowing. Something about him felt feminine. I shook my head. Male or female, it didn't matter to me. After dinner, I headed to the trade union, a massive skyscraper that dominated the skyline. It was the hub for everything: weapons, monster parts, and medicine. I made my way to the third floor where they handled beast carcasses. Can I help you? The receptionist asked with a practiced, professional smile. Do you buy monster remains? Of course. Our pavilion offers the best prices. Just show me what you have, and I'll give you an estimate. I have a lot, I said. Do you have a storage area? If I bring them all out here, I'll fill the entire hall. The girl's smile twitched. I could see the condescension in her eyes. She probably thought I was some kid bragging about a couple of rats. Manager, we have a customer who claims he has too many monsters. He needs a storage unit. A woman named Li Yanfang walked out in high heels, her hips swaying. She looked me up and down, clearly unimpressed by my young face. You're the one with the huge haul? Look, kid, lying isn't going to get you a better price. I didn't feel like arguing. I tossed my storage ring onto the counter. Check it yourself. Tell me the price. Li Yanfang peered into the ring. Her bored expression vanished instantly. Her body went stiff. Inside were dozens of high-level carcasses. She immediately changed her tune, scurrying to pour me a cup of tea with a frantic, fawning smile. Please, honored guest, let's sit and talk. Are you selling all of these at once? The receptionist stood in the corner, looking like a total fool. I took a sip of the tea. All of them. Give me a number. Well, Li Yanfang started, her fingers trembling slightly. The rats are standard, but these wind wolves are high quality. Total comes to 850,000 credits. How does that sound? The price was fair. Fine. Take the monsters. Give me back the ring. Wait, she said, leaning in. You must have a very powerful team behind you. Why don't we set up a long-term partnership? I don't have a team. I hunted them alone. Now pay me. Li Yanfang let out a soft, skeptical laugh. Alone? Honored guest, it's impossible for one person to kill this many in a single day, especially that level 6 beast. There's no need to exaggerate. I set the tea down. And if I'm not exaggerating? If you're telling the truth, she smirked, I'll round that 850,000 up to 2 million. I didn't say a word. I let the dark element flicker in my eyes. The air in the room turned cold, heavy with the scent of blood and death. I summoned the Death Lotus and pressed it against her throat before she could even blink. Now, I whispered, do you still think I couldn't kill a level 6 beast? Li Yanfang's face went white as a sheet. She swallowed hard, trembling under the weight of my killing intent. I believe you. I believe you. The moment the Death Lotus touched her neck, Li Yanfang froze. She genuinely thought she was going to die. I could see the terror in her eyes, so I pulled the blade back and let the dark energy dissipate. Just transfer the money, I said coldly. Remember, it's 2 million. She didn't argue. She quickly transferred the monster corpses out of my storage ring and handed me a bank card. The password was 6 zeros. I took the card, tucked it away, and stood up to leave. Before I walked out, I asked her for directions to the medicinal pill hall. She pointed the way, her voice trembling as she bid me goodbye. As I walked away, Li Yanfeng stared at my back. It took her a long moment, but the realization finally hit her like a lightning bolt. She knew who I was. As a manager in the trading industry, she kept tabs on all the newly awakened talents in the city. Wasn't that Suchen? She whispered to herself. She was baffled. According to the reports, I had only awakened my ability this morning. How was I already at level 4 of the First Order? She hadn't misread my aura. It was solid and suffocating. Not only was I level 4, but I was hunting level 6 beasts alone. If that really was Su Chun, then the city hadn't just gained a new talent. It had birthed a true dragon. Sister Yanfeng, who was that guy? One of her staff asked, leaning over curiously. A dragon, she muttered, her eyes filled with a mix of regret and longing. She bit her lip, wishing she had dressed a bit more provocatively. If she had known my potential, she would have done anything to secure a close relationship with me before I truly took flight. I didn't care about her regrets. I left the monster trade zone and looked at the bank card in my hand. Between the 500,000 the principal gave me and the 2 million inheritance my parents left behind, I was sitting on nearly 5 million credits. I let out a small sigh. At least for now, money was the one thing I didn't have to worry about. I followed the signs to the pill department. The air there was thick with the bittersweet scent of herbs. I didn't browse. I went straight for what I needed. I bought 15 high-grade bone-crushing pills, which wiped 3 million credits off my balance in an instant. Then, I headed straight for the cultivation rooms. The receptionist at the training center gave me a polite smile. Welcome. What is your current level? I can help you choose the right room. Level 4, First Order, I replied. She thought for a moment. I recommend an F-rank room. It boosts your energy absorption by 10% and features combat simulations for monsters up to level 5. It's 100,000 credits an hour. I want an E-rank room, I said. She blinked, surprised. E-rank is 200,000 an hour. Honestly, at your level, it won't be very efficient. You should stay with E-rank. 3 hours, I interrupted. My tone left no room for debate. I needed to refine my bones quickly, and I wanted to test myself against level 6 virtual monsters. She sighed and took my card. After the transaction, she handed me a key card and pointed left. I walked into the room, and the heavy door hissed shut behind me. The space was packed with high-tech sensors and glowing consoles. Welcome, honored user. I am your AI assistant, Xiaoyi. How can I help you? The sweet, synthesized voice startled me for a second. Technology in this world was truly something else. Simulate a level 5 iron-armored crab, I commanded. Generating. Please wait. 2 seconds later, ripples appeared in the air. A massive, virtual crab materialized, the size of a small car. Its shell shimmered with a metallic coldness, looking thick enough to shrug off a tank shell. I didn't hesitate. I formed a hand seal, and the dark abyss pond erupted beneath its feet, miring it in shadows. Before it could struggle, I summoned the shadow claws from above. The massive dark talons slammed down with a whistling wind, cracking the crab's shell and leaving it mangled and dying in seconds. Not bad, I muttered. My S-rank abilities and techniques were only at the entry stage, yet I could already stomp a monster 1 level higher than me with a single combo. If I reached SS rank or mastered these skills, the power would be terrifying. Next, I stepped it up. Generate a level 6 iron-armored crab. This time, my standard combo only left surface scratches. The level 6 beast was significantly tougher. I narrowed my eyes and summoned the Death Lotus. Cut! I warred. The lotus blade swept through the air with a sharp whistle. It sliced through the indestructible shell like a hot knife through butter, leaving a massive, gaping wound. I smiled. The Death Lotus was my ultimate trump card. In this country, only those with A-rank abilities or higher had a chance of manifesting a natal soul weapon like this. It was far stronger than any manufactured combat blade. I finished the crab off in under a minute. My blood was pumping. That's more like it, I shouted. I decided not to try level 7 yet. It would take too long to grind down, and I had work to do. I sat down in the center of the room and pulled out the bone-crushing pills. It was time for the first round of refinement. I swallowed the top-grade pill and began circulating my energy. The effect was instantaneous. It felt like a pair of invisible, Giant hands had grabbed my skeleton and started twisting. My bones creaked and popped. My muscles spasmed, tightening against the shifting frame. Sweat poured off my forehead in thick droplets as a piercing pain moved through my body. I gritted my teeth and held on. An hour passed. Suddenly, my whole body shuddered, and a wave of relief washed over me. The first round of bone refinement was complete. Normally, this would take days, but the combination of top-grade pills and the high-end training room accelerated everything. I wiped the sweat from my eyes and called up my status. Name, Su-chun. Age, 18. Level 4, First Order. Weapon, S-rank Death Lotus. Skills, Dark Abyss Pond, Entry, Shadow Claws, Entry. I was getting stronger, but I knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge was still waiting for me outside those city gates. I looked at my status screen. I had 500 killing points left. Most of them came from the monsters I hunted after dealing with Li Hongshan earlier this afternoon. As I scrolled through my options, I noticed a small plus sign next to the first round bone refinement entry. System, what does the plus sign mean? I asked, feeling a bit confused. Host can spend points to upgrade. The system replied instantly. Upgrading through the system is toxin-free and has no side effects. You can reach the second round of refinement for only 200 points. I almost choked. Are you kidding me? Why didn't you say that earlier? I didn't hesitate. If I kept upgrading like this, I was guaranteed to reach the perfect 10th round of bone refinement. Usually, people had to struggle for every inch of progress, but I could just click a button. Of course, I had to earn the points myself, so it still felt like honest work. System, upgrade bone refinement to the second round. I commanded. 200 killing points consumed. Success. The moment the words faded, I felt like every bone in my body was being shattered into dust and then fused back together. The pain was excruciating. I gripped my knees, teeth grinding until I thought they'd snap. But when the agony finally receded, a wave of power replaced it. My skeleton felt denser, harder, and more resilient than ever before. One-click upgrades were definitely the way to go. I had 300 points left. My eyes shifted to my two combat skills. Should I upgrade Shadow Claws or the Dark Abyss Pond? I needed more firepower. Put it all into Shadow Claws, I decided. Offense was the best defense. 300 killing points consumed. Shadow Claws has reached the sub-mastery stage. Suddenly, a flood of muscle memory rushed into my mind. It felt like I had practiced the move tens of thousands of times. I gave the air a quick swipe. The power was significantly higher, and the range had expanded. I nodded, satisfied, and closed the panel. I reached into my bag and pulled out the top-grade origin stone Luo Qingxue had given me. It looked like a piece of black crystal humming with raw energy. Since I was out of killing points and hunting at night was suicide for a first-order cultivator, I decided to spend the night meditating. Once I reached the second order, I'd gain night vision. Then, I could hunt 24 hours a day and leave everyone my age in the dust. I sat cross-legged and began the basic energy circulation technique. The air around me rippled as thin threads of energy pulled from the stone and spiraled into my chest. Meanwhile, inside the city lord's mansion, Shi Yuanshan was pacing back and forth, looking at his daughter with pure exasperation. "My dear daughter, how can you be so reckless?" he sighed. "Running off like that. You worried me to death." Xiaoyao huffed, crossing her arms. "Who asked you to worry? It's your fault for trying to force me into that husband selection ceremony tomorrow. I don't want to throw a silk ball to some stranger." Shi Yuanshan groaned. "It's a tradition from your mother's side of the family. Just go through the motions. You know I don't actually want to marry you off yet." "Too late," she snapped, turning her head away. "I already have someone I like. I'll marry him in 2 days just to spite you." Her father froze. "What? Who is he? Tell me right now. I want to see which brat thinks he's good enough for my daughter." Xiaoyao stuck her tongue out. "Not telling. Unless you give me some cultivation resources." Fine. Anything you want," he promised. "I want that shadow energy cultivation method you found in the secret realm, plus a tier 3 dark-type combat technique." Shi Yuanshan winced. Those were high-level treasures. But seeing his daughter's stubborn face, he caved. "All right, I'll bring them to you. Now who is the boy?" "You'll see him tomorrow when he catches the silk ball," she said, skipping away with a triumphant smile. Shi Yuanshan watched her go, feeling like his precious garden was about to be raided by a wild pig. He just hoped the pig wasn't some delinquent with bleached hair and a loud motorcycle. By 10 p.m., the moonlight was reflecting off the quiet streets of Chuan City. I finished my training and walked home, stopping to grab a meat bun from a street stall. I lived in an old, cramped apartment complex. The only thing my parents had left me, but it was home. I sat down at my table to eat when my phone started buzzing like crazy. It was the person I had rescued earlier. Her username was Bunny Loves to Eat. Hey, hey, hey. It's 9 p.m. Wake up and pee. Hee hee. It's 9:30. Wake up and go to the bathroom. Su Chun. It's 10 o'clock. Wake up. I stared at the screen, my lip twitching. Was this girl insane? I typed back. I'm awake. She replied instantly. Then, she sent a series of photos. My jaw dropped. One photo showed a Tier 3 Dark-type manual called Hidden Shadow Strike. Another showed a shadow energy cultivation method. There were even more top-grade bone refinement pills. Dad, you're my hero. I messaged back, my eyes wide. I hadn't saved a person, I had saved a walking gold mine. Back in the mansion, Shi Yaoyao burst out laughing at her phone. Calling me dad won't work, she muttered. She typed back, call me mom instead. 666, I replied. I'm guessing you're a girl, based on how you talk. Not telling, she sent back. Just make sure you're at the entrance of the City Lord's mansion tomorrow morning. For those rewards? I'll be there, I promised. It's a deal then. Good night. Good night. I put my phone down, a smirk playing on my lips. It looked like tomorrow was going to be an interesting day. I shut off my phone and headed straight for the shower. The hot water felt incredible. It had been a massive day. I'd walked away with millions in my bank account, and my cultivation and bone refinement levels had jumped significantly. I lay down in bed with a satisfied smirk, closed my eyes, and drifted into a deep sleep almost instantly. The next morning was bright and clear. I started walking toward the City Lord's mansion, but something felt off. The streets were packed. Everyone was rushing in the same direction, their faces tight with excitement and anticipation. Hey man, I said, grabbing a guy passing by. What's the rush? Why is everyone heading to the mansion? You don't know? He looked at me like I was from another planet. The City Lord's daughter, Shi Yaoyao, is holding a marriage recruitment today. She's throwing a silk ball to pick a husband. I'm going to try my luck. Who knows? Maybe I'll become the son-in-law of the City Lord. He gave me a dreamy smile and took off running. A silk ball recruitment? I blinked, stunned. I thought that only happened in ancient history books. I didn't expect it to still be a thing in this era. I took a massive bite of my breakfast wrap and felt a surge of curiosity. I might as well go see the show. The name Shi Yuanshan carried weight. He was one of the strongest men in Chuan City, a rank 6 powerhouse with massive prestige. As for his daughter, Shi Yaoyao, I'd only heard her name. I had no idea what she looked like. Honestly, part of me suspected she was a monster. Why else would they resort to throwing a ball into a crowd to find her a husband? Then it clicked. I strongly suspected the person I rescued yesterday was Shi Yaoyao. The massive rewards, the mention of the mansion, it all lined up. No way, I muttered. Is it really her? Either way, I was here for the rewards. I needed that combat manual. I didn't care what she looked like. She wasn't my girlfriend or anyone I liked. I just needed power. You can't survive on killing points alone. You need high-level techniques. If I could snag a powerful skill while I was at it, why not? The area in front of the mansion was a sea of people. The crowd surged like a tide. My God, even the young master of the Li family is here, someone shouted. He's a genius with a B-rank talent. The Zhang family heir is here too. All the big shots are gathered. The regular guys who had come hoping for a miracle looked deflated. Their faces were masks of disappointment. Against these elite heirs, they didn't stand a chance. Down on the ground, Shi Yuanshan was greeting the guests. Young Master Li, you came. Li Tian stepped forward with a polished, confident smile. Hello, Uncle Shi. I'm just here to see if fate will bring me together with your daughter. How is your training going? Shi Yuanshan asked politely. Li Tian puffed out his chest, his eyes full of pride. I'm not much, but I've already reached rank 1, level 1. I'm preparing to break through to level 2 as we speak. To hit level 2 in just 2 days was impressive. He was definitely a top-tier talent. Not bad, Xiao Tian. I've got high hopes for you, Shi Yuanshan said. Thank you, uncle. I promise I'll treat Yao Yao well in the future, Li Tian pledged solemnly. Shi Yuanshan smiled, but internally, he was rolling his eyes. Haha. Well, feel free to look around. I need to head up. He made a quick excuse and vanished. Li Tian watched him go, a smirk playing on his lips. He was convinced he'd made a great impression. Today, he would be the star. No matter how they fought for that ball, his cultivation level would crush the competition. Up on the balcony of the mansion, the atmosphere was different. Yao Yao, tell me what you want in a husband. Her mother, Li Yulan, said softly. I'll help you pick. Just throw the ball toward someone suitable. Mom, can't I just decide for myself? Yao Yao groaned. Look at the crowd, honey. We've already announced this. I just want you to have a good life. Don't worry about it. I already have someone I like. Li Yulan sighed. You're always teasing me. I know your personality. If you don't believe me, ask Dad. Yao Yao pointed at Shi Yuanshan as he walked back in. Yuanshan, is she telling the truth? Shi Yuanshan shook his head. I'm not sure. But she told me that whoever catches the ball will be the one she likes. He looked out at the crowd, curious to see which young man would catch his daughter's eye. Li Yulan was skeptical but gave in. Fine. If you have someone in mind, I won't stop you. It's time. Let's get the ceremony started. She felt a bit regretful. If she'd known her daughter had a crush, she wouldn't have made such a big deal out of this. Yao Yao couldn't wait. She dashed out onto the balcony. I'm going to take a look. Yao Yao, you forgot the ball, her parents called out, rushing after her. Standing high above the crowd, Yao Yao looked down at the massive sea of people. She froze for a second. Why are there so many people here? The moment she appeared, the crowd erupted. They said the city lord's daughter was a beauty, but this is insane. I swear, I'm not into the cute type, but she's gorgeous. Who's going to get the ball? Probably one of the big family heirs. You need real strength to grab it. Yao Yao ignored the noise. Her eyes darted through the crowd, searching desperately for Su Chun. She looked once, twice, 3 times. Nothing. Her heart sank. Did he really not come? That jerk. Young lady Shi, what are we waiting for? Li Tian called out elegantly, trying to catch her eye. Yao Yao didn't even look at him. She kept searching. Then, she saw him. Su Chun was strolling toward the back of the crowd, looking bored. Her face lit up instantly. At least he has a conscience, she thought. Then she frowned. Wait, no? He's definitely only here for the combat manual. My charm means nothing to him. Down below, Li Tian saw her smile right after he spoke. He felt a surge of triumph, thinking his charm had worked. He had no idea she thought he was a clown. In the distance, I finally squeezed through the layers of people to get a clear view. I looked up at the balcony and my eyes widened. She wasn't a monster. She was a cute little girl. Shi Yao Yao had her hair in playful twin tails. Her skin was fair with a natural rosy glow in the sunlight, like a fresh flower. Her eyes were wide, bright, and clear as a mountain lake. Below her small, straight nose, her lips were curved into a tiny, hidden smile. She had a small, upturned mouth like a cherry blossom. She wore a simple white cartoon t-shirt tucked into denim shorts, looking incredibly vibrant and cute. I stared at her, feeling a wave of confusion. Was this really the same person I had saved? Shi Yao Yao caught my eye and stuck her tongue out, making a playful face. That settled it. It was her. I hadn't expected to save a little brat like this. I wasn't exactly a Lolita type, but then again, I liked all beautiful women, so I guess I didn't have a specific type at all. Just then, 2 figures appeared on the balcony of the city lord's mansion, Shi Yuanshan and Li Yulan. Welcome, everyone, Shi Yuanshan announced, his voice booming. Today, my daughter, Shi Yao Yao, will throw a silk ball to choose a suitor. Whoever catches it will earn the chance to speak with her. Consider it a blind date. He scanned the crowd. Anyone who awakened their abilities this year and is 18 years old can participate. It doesn't matter what your ability level is or what your family background looks like. If you don't meet these requirements, please step aside. A collective groan erupted. A huge chunk of the crowd was instantly disqualified. They shuffled to the sidelines, watching with envy as only a few dozen of US remained in the center. Shi Yuanshan turned to his daughter. All right, dear. You can start. Yahyao shook her head. Not yet. I'm not in a hurry. She pulled out her phone and stepped back into the shadows of the balcony. Her father looked bewildered. He was clearly anxious to see which pig was going to try and steal his cabbage. He turned back to the confused crowd, waving his hands. Everyone, please wait just a moment. Up on the balcony, Yahyao was frantically typing. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out and saw a message from her. You better catch that ball, Su-chun. I don't want to go on a blind date with some random guy. I looked up at her and smirked. I started typing back. I usually just go with the flow. Unless, of course, you beg me. I could see her biting her lip from the balcony, her eyes flashing with annoyance. I was clearly getting under her skin. Please, I'm begging you. She replied. If you do this, I'll owe you one request. Anything you want. I thought about it for a second. My fingers danced across the screen. Deal. No problem. Yahyao smiled, satisfied. I knew what she was up to. She wanted a fake relationship to get her parents off her back about marriage. She wanted freedom, and honestly, I doubted any man had actually caught her interest yet. She tucked her phone away and stepped back to the edge of the railing. I'm throwing it now, she shouted. 3, 2, 1. She launched the silk ball. It soared through the air in a perfect arc, heading straight toward me. The crowd went wild. Every young man in the clearing lunged forward, eyes glowing with greed and desperation. It's mine, someone screamed. Li Tian let out a cold, mocking laugh. You're all beneath me. He activated his ability. He moved like a bolt of black lightning, leaping high into the air. His fingertips were inches away from the ball. He looked down at the rest of us with pure disdain. Only the strong deserve this. But before he could close his hand, a black shadow blurred past him. Before anyone could even blink, I had snatched the ball out of the air. I landed firmly on the ground, the colorful silk ball gripped tightly in my hand. A faint, sweet scent drifted from it, lingering under my nose. We were all newly awakened, but my cultivation level was higher and my physical strength was far superior. Jumping higher than them was easy. The crowd went silent. All eyes turned to me. Who is that? He actually beat Li Tian. He looks familiar. Wait, isn't that Su-chin? The guy with the marriage contract with the Luo family. It is. If he's already engaged, why is he trying to steal the ball from us? Li Tian's face turned a nasty shade of purple. He landed and marched toward me. Su-chin, you already have a fiancé. Give me that ball, or don't blame me for being impolite. I tossed the ball up and caught it casually, a provocative grin on my face. And what if I don't? Then you asked for it. Li Tian snarled. He lunged, but the crowd let out a collective gasp. Holy crap, look at that giant hand. Li Tian looked up instinctively. A massive, terrifying shadow claw was descending from the sky, pulsing with sharp, dark energy. Boom. The ground shook. The shadow claw slammed Li Tian directly into the dirt, leaving him pinned in a deep crater. Dust swirled everywhere. I held the silk ball high. Anyone else want to try? The guys who were about to rush me scrambled backward, their faces pale with terror. Li Tian was one of the best among us, and I had just one-shot him. Nobody wanted to die for a silk ball. Up on the balcony, Shi Yuanshan's eyes narrowed. He looked stunned. A second-tier skill? Shadow Claw? And he's already reached this small success mastery level. His voice was thick with disbelief. It had only been 2 days since the awakening. Even an S-rank user usually took months to master a second-tier skill to that level. I had done it in less than 48 hours. He finally realized that I was the one Yahyao had been talking about. Yahyao watched me stand there, holding the ball and intimidating the entire crowd. She whispered to herself, "Actually, he's kind of handsome." She was about to head down, but the crowd started buzzing with nasty rumors. He has a marriage contract and he's still here? How shameless. No wonder the Luo family wants to break it off. He's probably a total creep. Exactly. Even if he is an S rank, he's not good enough for Luo Qingxue, and he's definitely not good enough for the city lord's daughter. I listened to the whispers, a cold sneer forming on my lips. My parents had died saving the Luo family, and now these people were using that history to drag my name through the mud. It was disgusting. I was ready to snap back at them, but then I saw a flash of white. Yahyao didn't take the stairs. She jumped straight off the balcony. Su-chun, Catch me, she screamed. My heart skipped a beat. I lunged forward, dropping the ball and catching her in a perfect bridal carry. She was soft and light in my arms. For a moment, I just stood there, stunned by the feeling. Have you felt enough yet? Yaoyao's voice snapped me back to reality. I coughed awkwardly, feeling the heat from her body. Not yet, I managed to say, giving her a look. Yaoyao rolled her eyes at me, but she wasn't actually angry. She wiggled out of my arms and turned toward the crowd, her gaze turning sharp and cold. Look at you all, bitter because you have no talent, she snapped. Her voice rang out across the square. Su-chun is an S-rank user. He's reached a height you won't touch in your entire lifetime. You're just crying sour grapes. You say he's not good enough for Luo Qingxue? In my eyes, the Luo family isn't even fit to lick his boots. She paused, then dropped a bombshell. And for the record, I think Su-chun and I are a perfect match. So don't worry your busybody heads about it. Before I could process that, she leaned in on her tiptoes and pressed a soft kiss right on my cheek. I froze. The anger that had been simmering in my chest instantly evaporated, replaced by a strange, warm rush. I looked at her, thinking to myself that this girl was actually pretty amazing. The people who had been bad-mouthing me moments ago hung their heads in shame. They didn't dare utter another word. After all, I was an S rank, and I had the beautiful, bold daughter of the city lord claiming me. My life looked pretty perfect from where they were standing. Yaoyao's face turned a light shade of crimson. She looked away, acting shy. Humph, aren't you going to thank me? I could tell she was flustered. It was probably her first time being so intimate with a guy. She had clearly acted on a whim, fueled by pure spite for those bullies. Thank you, Miss Shi, I said, my voice softening. I owe you one. It's nothing, she whispered. If you hadn't saved me yesterday, the monsters would have picked my bones clean by now. I should be the one thanking you. When my savior is in trouble, of course I'm going to speak up. Hearing her say that made something shift inside me. I felt a strange, bittersweet smile tugging at my lips. It was funny how the world worked. I saved Yaoyao, and she stood by me, braving the judgment of the crowd to offer her help. But my parents had saved the Luo family, and in return, they gave me lies and betrayal. Saving you was definitely worth it, I said quietly. Of course it was. You hit the jackpot with me, she joked, her playful smile returning. All right, Yaoyao, you two can catch up later, Shi Yuanshan interrupted. He was watching us with a sour expression, looking like a father who had just realized his precious daughter was being stolen away. Yaoyao made a cute face at him, but didn't argue. Her father turned his attention to the crowd. Everyone, today's ceremony is over. I've arranged a luncheon at the Sunshine Hotel. Please head there if you wish. Now, please clear the area in an orderly fashion. The crowd, which had been disappointed about the canceled event, suddenly cheered up. The Sunshine Hotel was a 5-star luxury spot. A free meal there was worth the trip, if only for the photos they could post on social media to brag. As people began to turn away, I raised my voice, the sound cutting through the chatter. Wait. The crowd stopped and looked back at me, confused. In 2 days, I will duel the Luo family, I announced, my voice steady and cold. The truth will come out then. I'm going to make it very clear to everyone that it's the Luo family who isn't good enough for me. Silence fell. My declaration was so bold, so full of youthful arrogance, that it stunned them into speechlessness. Yaoyao leaned in and whispered, Are you really that confident? Confidence. I glanced at her. I'm looking for total annihilation. With my ability to assign attribute points, I'd be at least level 5 by then. What did Luo Qingxue have to challenge me? I wasn't just planning to beat her. I was going to slap the faces of her ungrateful parents in front of the whole city. You've got a big mouth, Yaoyao said, her eyes shining with trust. But I believe you. She had seen me master a second-tier skill in 2 days. In her mind, I was already a monster. Yaoyao, bring Su-chun into the manor, Shi Yuanshan called out. We need to talk. You heard him, she said, smiling at me. Let's go, little Chun. I played along, smirking back. As you wish, Princess Yaoyao. Meanwhile, inside the Luo family estate, the atmosphere was much darker. So, Su-chun actually went to the city lord's recruitment, and he made a public declaration. Luo Dongshan frowned as he listened to his subordinate's report. Yes, sir. and he defeated the Li family's son with a single move. He's already mastered the Shadow Claw to the small success level. Sir, do you think the duel in 2 days might be? What? Small success already? Luo Dongshan bolted upright. He only awakened 2 days ago. How could he train that fast? What about his level? Did you find out his rank? We don't have details on his level, sir. Most likely, he spent every waking second on skill training, neglecting his cultivation. Luo Dongshan frowned. It sounded plausible, but a master-level skill in 2 days was still insane. He narrowed his eyes, a cruel light flickering in them. Go to my vault. Take the A-rank frost blade I've been saving and give it to Qingxue. Tell her to use it in the duel. The butler hesitated. Sir, using an A-rank weapon against him? Won't people talk? So what? If Su Qin had won, I'd let him use it too. But he doesn't. Background and resources are part of one's strength. It's his own fault he's an orphan with a hunter for an uncle. Luo Dongshan wasn't taking any chances. With an A-rank weapon, his daughter's power would skyrocket. You're right, sir. There's no rule against it, the butler agreed. One more thing, Luo Dongshan added as the butler turned to leave. Make sure Su Qin's uncle is there to watch the duel. Su Qin wants to talk about who is good enough for whom? Fine. Let's see how he feels when his only living relative watches him crawl in the dirt. He wants to humiliate us? We'll see who gets humiliated. Back at the city lord's manor, the air was thick with tension. Shi Yuanshan and his wife, Li Yulan, sat in the high chairs, staring intensely at me and Shi Yaoyao. Dad, you called us here. What's going on? Shi Yaoyao finally asked, breaking the awkward silence. You tell me, Shi Yuanshan grumbled. What exactly is the relationship between you and Su Qin? We're dating, she said casually. I nearly choked. My head snapped toward her, my eyes wide. Wait, what? Since when? I opened my mouth to ask what she was playing at, but the look on her father's face told me I should probably stay quiet for a second. Shi Yaoyao started winking at me, her eyes darting back and forth with desperate hints. I caught on immediately. It was a classic move. Her parents were probably pressuring her to get married, and she was using me as a human shield. She wanted me to play the part of the devoted boyfriend. Su Qin, is what Yaoyao said true? Shi Yuanshan asked, his eyes narrowing as he scrutinized me. I didn't hesitate. I decided to help her out, just this once. Yes, we're currently in a relationship. Shi Yuanshan looked back and forth between us, his face full of suspicion. He clearly didn't believe a word of it, but since his daughter had already made the claim, he couldn't exactly call her a liar to her face. He sighed, letting it slide for now. Right. And what about your engagement with the Luo family? He asked. It's a bit complicated, I replied calmly. If you have time in 2 days, come to the second middle school. You'll see exactly what's going on then. Shi Yuanshan nodded slowly. He wasn't a fool. He realized the rumors about the Luo family breaking the engagement because I was talentless were probably just a cover for something deeper. So, Su Qin, Li Yulan piped up, her tone curious. How is your cultivation coming along? I'm at Tier 1, Level 4, I answered truthfully. I saw no point in hiding it. I had worked hard, killing monsters and grinding points to get here. Why should I act like a weakling? Li Yulan smiled and nodded. Level 4, that's wait, what? She suddenly bolted upright, her eyes bulging. You're already at level 4? Shi Yuanshan nearly fell out of his chair. He stood up so fast it rattled the table. What did you say? Level 4. I rubbed my nose, a faint smile playing on my lips. Is there a problem? The two of them exchanged a look of pure shock. They were clearly thinking the same thing. This kid had been playing the pig to eat the tiger all along. A problem? If they had reached level 4 the day after awakening their abilities back when they were 18, they would have been flaunting it every 5 seconds. Usually, only S-rank geniuses reached level 4 or 5 by the time of the college entrance exams. You're a monster. Shi Yuanshan cleared his throat, still trying to process it. It had been barely over 24 hours since I awakened. This speed was unheard of. Even the top-tier geniuses in the capital, backed by endless resources, couldn't match this. Shi Yuanshan's mind started racing. If I was this fast, I might actually hit Tier 2 before the exams. It was just luck, I said, brushing it off with a casual shrug. Oh, look at how hard he works. Li Yulan beamed at me, her eyes full of genuine admiration. Not like our Yao Yao. She hates practicing. You'll have to look after her in the future. I felt a bit awkward under her gaze. She was looking at me like I was the perfect son-in-law. I was handsome, I had an S-rank talent, and my growth speed was terrifying. Even if she suspected the relationship was fake, she clearly wanted to make it real. I will, Auntie Yulan, I said. Auntie? Call me mother-in-law. I mean, call me Auntie for now. She corrected herself with a playful glare. Yes, Auntie, I said, putting on my best well-behaved smile. She was delighted. Stay for lunch. I'll cook something special myself. Xiao Yao looked completely stunned. She realized her plan had backfired. Her mother wasn't just playing along. She was ready to plan the wedding. Su-chun, can I have a private word with my daughter? Shi Yuanshan asked. Of course, City Lord. I'll step out, I said, standing up to give them space. Wait, Su-chun, take this, Shi Yao called out. She tossed a storage ring toward me. I caught it and checked the contents. My heart skipped a beat. Inside was a Tier 3 combat technique called Dark Ambush, a manual for shadow ability cultivation, and several high-grade bone-crushing pills. Thanks, I said, my eyes brightening. Don't mention it. I promised you, she said with a smile before turning back to her father. Once I was outside, Shi Yuanshan's face turned stern. All right, talk. How do you two really know each other? I snuck out of the city yesterday to explore, Shi Yao admitted. I got surrounded by a wolf pack. He saved my life. You went outside the walls alone? Shi Yuanshan's face paled. Are you insane? The monsters out there are ruthless. Thank God you're okay. He let out a long breath, his respect for me growing even more. Not only was I talented, but I had saved his only daughter. He looked at her seriously. Su-chun is a good kid. If you actually like him, you should make this fake relationship real. Shi Yao's face turned bright red. Dad, stop it. I don't want to get married. I wasn't listening to their bickering anymore. I was staring at the manual in my hand. Dark Ambush. I scanned it using my system. It allowed me to condense dark elements into a swarm of shadow bats to strike enemies. Then I checked the cultivation manual. It was even better. The shadow cultivation method was exclusive to shadow users. It significantly boosted energy absorption speed. More importantly, it allowed the user to separate their shadow to cultivate independently. My pulse quickened. If my shadow could cultivate while I was out hunting monsters for kill points, I would be unstoppable. System, learn Dark Ambush and Shadow Cultivation, I whispered in my mind. A notification chimed. The knowledge flooded my brain instantly. I understood exactly how to split and condense my shadow. I hadn't mastered the combat technique yet, but the foundation was there. I just needed more kill points to level them up. I had a vision now. I wouldn't just be a stealthy assassin. I would become a devastating shadow mage and summoner combined. Just as I was getting lost in my plans for the future, Shi Yao's voice drifted from the doorway. Lunch is ready. I turned back and gave a quick shout of acknowledgement. Coming. I stood up and headed straight for the dining room. A massive spread waited for me. 7 or 8 dishes were laid out across the table, each one looking and smelling incredible. The steam rising from the plates carried an aroma that made my stomach growl instantly. Xiao-chun, I wasn't sure what you liked, so I just made a few simple things, Li Yulan said with a warm, expectant smile. I hope it suits your taste. I picked up my chopsticks and grabbed a piece of braised pork. I took a quick sniff. It was heavenly. I took a bite, and the meat practically melted on my tongue. It was rich, savory, and perfectly cooked. A satisfied grin spread across my face. Auntie, this is amazing, I praised her. I knew the best way to compliment a cook was to keep eating, so I didn't slow down. Li Yulan looked delighted. I'm glad you like it. My Yao complains about my cooking every single day. She shot a playful glare at her daughter. That's not true. Shi Yao protested. Maybe she's just eaten your cooking for so long that her taste buds have become spoiled. I joked, trying to bail her out. Li Yulan nodded, clearly won over. You're such a sweet talker. Eat more, eat more. Just as I reached for another dish, Li Yulan nudged her daughter. Yao, don't just look out for yourself. Put some food in Xiao Chen's bowl. Shi Yao pouted, her heart sinking. She could tell her mother was already treating me like a son-in-law. She reluctantly picked up a piece of meat and dropped it into my bowl, her expression a mix of frustration and shyness. I felt a bit awkward myself. I hadn't expected things to escalate this quickly, so I just gave her a helpless, wry smile and kept eating. So, Su-chun, Shi Yuanshan said, breaking the domestic tension. Which Awakening Academy are you planning to join? I didn't even have to think about it. Whichever one offers the best rewards. I'll go where the resources are. Is that so? Shi Yuanshan nodded. When you make your choice, let us know. I'm thinking of having Yaoyao go to the same school as you. I understood his angle. If his daughter actually liked me, it was a chance for a real relationship to blossom. But more importantly, he knew his daughter's personality. The academies were melting pots of different people and hidden dangers. If I was there to look after her, he could rest easy. Of course, I replied politely. I'll definitely let you know. Then, I decided to ask about something that had been on my mind. By the way, Uncle Shi, are there any scheduled executions for criminals or monsters coming up? Killing was my path to power. If I could get kill points from criminals, it would be a huge shortcut. Shi Yuanshan frowned slightly, looking confused. Xiao Chen, why are you asking about that? I put on my most serious face. To be honest, the idea of killing makes me a bit uncomfortable. I feel a lingering fear. I thought if I could face some death in a controlled environment, I could overcome that psychological barrier. Beside me, Shi Yaoyao's eyes widened. She was screaming internally. Fear? Uncomfortable? She had seen me kill Li Hongshan. I had looked like I was having the time of my life. There wasn't a trace of fear in me. Shi Yuanshan thought for a moment. Well, we have a few monsters that broke into the city and several members of the Blood Beast sect scheduled for execution the day after tomorrow. If you want to use them to steady your heart, I can arrange it. Really? That would be perfect, I said, my pulse quickening. But, what exactly is the Blood Beast sect? I had heard the name before, but I didn't know the details. At the mention of them, Shi Yuanshan's eyes burned with pure hatred. They're a bunch of lunatics, he spat. Some joined because they were unhappy with their low-level abilities. Others were just broken by life. Their great priest uses a secret ritual to inject monster essence into their bodies, allowing them to shift into a half-human, half-beast state. Their strength and speed skyrocket, but they lose their humanity. They hide in the shadows like rats, causing chaos wherever they go. As he explained, my understanding of this high martial world deepened. I had been here for 3 years, but there were still so many dark corners I hadn't explored. A curious thought popped into my head. If I killed a half-beast, would I get double the kill points? One for the human, one for the monster? The thought made me even more excited for the executions. Thank you for explaining, Uncle Shi. Shi Yuanshan waved it off. No need for thanks. Just remember one thing. No matter how much power you gain, always keep justice in your heart. I understand, I said firmly. I have my own scale for justice. Ha, good. Come find me at 8 o'clock the day after tomorrow. I'll take you to the execution grounds myself and let you handle them. I was beaming inside. To him, it was a training exercise. To me, it was a mountain of free kill points. The lunch finished shortly after. I stood up and bowed respectfully. Uncle Shi, Auntie Li, I have some things to attend to. I should head out. Take care on the way back, Xiao Chun, Li Yulan said gently. Come back and visit whenever you have time. I definitely will. I'd come back just for your cooking alone. Shi Yuanshan patted my shoulder. Keep training hard, kid. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do. I will. I smiled and turned to leave. The parents watched me go, then nudged their daughter. Yaoyao, go see him out. She lowered her head and whispered a quick, okay, before following me to the gate. Behind us, I could hear Li Yulan sighing happily about how much she liked me, while Shi Yuanshan agreed I was a good seedling. Once we were outside, Shi Yaoyao looked at me with an embarrassed expression. I'm sorry. I didn't think my parents would act like that. It's fine, I said, smiling warmly. I actually liked it. She looked up, confused. What? What do you mean by that? I gave her a mysterious smile. Nothing special. It's just been a long time since I felt that kind of warmth from a family. They're good people. Compared to the cold, arrogant faces of the Luo family, the Shi household was a breath of fresh air. It was the most comfortable I had felt in years. Shi Yaoyao's face turned bright red. She started overthinking immediately. She panicked. Su-chun, don't you dare fall in love with me, she blurted out, her voice getting smaller and shyer as she spoke. I told you this is just for show. I'm not planning on dating anyone right now. I couldn't help but tease her. Relax. I said I liked your parents. I never said I liked you. Technically, it was the truth. I liked her well enough, but I wasn't in love. Her face went from red to purple. She was stuck between being embarrassed and being offended. You. I didn't wait for her to find her words. I turned and started running. See you later, Miss She. I'm going to punch you the next time I see you. She screamed after me, shaking her fist. But as soon as the words left her mouth, she realized how loud she was being and buried her face in her hands. I watched Shi Yaoyao storm off, her face a mix of embarrassment and fury. I knew she was just a beginner at cultivation, currently stuck at Tier 1, Level 1. There was no way she could keep up with me if she didn't start taking her training seriously. She probably realized it too, because I heard her muttering about practicing for an extra 2 minutes a day. No, 3 minutes. I didn't head home after leaving the Shi household. It was only noon, and I had a whole afternoon to kill. I decided to head out of the city to hunt. When I reached the gates, the 2 guards from before recognized me and stepped into my path. Su Chun, listen to us, one guard said, his voice heavy with concern. You just awakened an S-rank talent 2 days ago. You should stay home and build your foundation. The monsters outside are dangerous. He's right, the other guard added. You're the pride of Chuan City now. If something happens to you out there, it would be a massive loss for everyone. I appreciated their concern, but I had a goal. I shook my head and gave them a reassuring smile. I'm just going out to see the scenery. I'll be back soon. Nothing is going to happen. The truth was, I wasn't there for the view. I was there to stack up kill points. The guards exchanged a worried look, seeing I wouldn't be swayed. Fine, the first guard sighed. But if you see any danger, run back immediately. I gave them an okay gesture and stepped through the gates. I pulled out a map of the surrounding area and scanned for a hunting ground. My eyes landed on the fallen leaf forest. It was a high-risk zone where monsters were at least Tier 1, Level 4. Higher levels meant more danger, but they also meant more kill points. And in this world, risk always paid better. I set off at a sprint, leaving the worried guards behind. Little did I know, I wasn't the only one heading into the wilderness. About 30 minutes after I left, 2 men dressed in black slipped out of the city. One of them, a man named Huang Yuan, looked particularly cold. Are you sure Su Chen left the city? He asked. Positive, Lord Huang Yuan. The other man, Zhu Kuan, replied eagerly. I saw him with my own eyes. Huang Yuan's lips curled into a cruel smirk. Good. If we catch him, the reward will be massive. Thank you, Lord Huang. Zhu Kuan groveled. Just please mention my name to the envoy for the upcoming elite disciple selection. Huang Yuan nodded, but his eyes were full of malice. He hated geniuses like me. To him, people who awakened S-rank talents didn't deserve them. He gripped his fist until his knuckles turned white. Let's go find that fool, Huang Yuan said. Hunting on his second day? He's asking to be killed. I'm at Tier 1, Level 7, and you're at Level 5. Between the two of us, he doesn't stand a chance, S-rank or not. Meanwhile, I was already deep in the forest. My blade, Mullion, was already stained red. Asterisk you killed a Tier 1, Level 4 Shadow Cat. Kill points plus 20, asterisk. Asterisk you killed a Tier 1, Level 5 Gale Dog. Kill points plus 25, asterisk. As I wiped my blade, a sudden notification rang in my head. Asterisk ding. Congratulations. You have accumulated 1,000 kill points. A special reward has been placed in your storage space. My heart skipped a beat. I opened my storage and saw a massive, pitch-black egg. It was 3 times the size of an ostrich egg and pulsed with a mysterious energy. I immediately used my appraisal skill. Mysterious egg will hatch in 10 days. The creature will recognize the host as its master. I couldn't help but grin. Would it be a dragon? A phoenix? Whatever it was going to be powerful. I tucked the egg away, feeling even more motivated. The next reward was at 100,000 points, and I needed to get moving. You killed a Tier 1, Level 5 Wind Wolf. Kill points plus 25. You killed a Tier 1, Level 5 Bronze Rat. Kill points plus 25. After a few hours of relentless hunting, my total reached 500 points. System, I whispered. Upgrade my cultivation to Tier 1, Level 5. Consuming 375 kill points. Level up successful. I paused, confused. Wait, you said it would cost 500 points earlier. Why only 375? The host completed 25% of the progress through manual training, the system replied. The cost has been adjusted accordingly. I laughed out loud. I love you, system. With my new strength, I felt a surge of confidence. I remembered a monster I had avoided earlier because I wasn't strong enough, a rock crocodile. Now, I was ready for a rematch. I headed toward the stream, and